G'day everyone, Duckville here bringing you some Terran, no it's not Terran, that's Zerg versus Protoss here. This is going to be on Ohana. It is taken from the Team Liquid Razor Replay Pack of the Week number 38. You'll be able to find that over on teamliquidpro.com. And this week, it is featuring everyone's favourite little one. The little one from Team Liquid, of course, currently playing as Zerg at the moment. I mean, that's his flavour of the current state of things. I mean, he has switched quite a lot. Of course, there was an early time where he was a Terran. There was also a period of Protoss as well, and then some random. And then finally, we've ended up with Zerg being one of his primary races, I suppose you could say. And he's been in and out of Korea lately, I believe. It's just been a bit of back and forth, and now I think, if I remember correctly, he's headed over to Shanghai for the Blizzard World Cup, or is it the WCS or something like that? WCG, I mean. So that'll be pretty cool to see some TLO action over there. His opponent is a blue Protoss up at the top left-hand side here by the name of ExcuseMe. And no, that's it. So ExcuseMe is going to be facing up here against one of the players who loves to do the odd crazy build from time to time. You do see some crazy things from TLO, including proxy hatches. You can see a Nidus worm bringing hydras right to the front of your base. That kind of cool stuff like that. So you know, we'll keep an eye on what TLO is up to. Of course, Ohana is a really decent map for both of these races. Of course, I think you could say it does lend quite well to the Protoss 2-base timings that have been quite popular. Of course, the Immortal Sentries being the big one there, and you can see a couple of others from time to time. Of course, Blink Stalkers, if you get them in at a really nice timing just before those Infestors come out, they can be quite powerful here as well. So, we'll see how ExcuseMe decides to go about it. Yeah, I'm really interested to see what's going to happen here. It looks as if ExcuseMe has blocked off the natural hatchery of TLO for the moment. Unfortunately, TLO looks as if he went just straight across to the third base here, so he's definitely going to go for a bit of a macro play. Definitely just going to keep it standard. Probably going to hit up the second hatchery just at the natural there as well, and we'll see him go into a standard sort of phase for a Zerg. ExcuseMe just doing a standard Forge Fast Expand as well, so nothing too crazy out of either of these guys. Of course, if you've seen on my channel a little bit lately, we've seen some Heart of the Swarm games going up, and of course a couple of some transfers of live games that I've been doing casts of, including the MGG versus TCP clan battle, which was quite a lot of fun to see and cast. Hope you can all you can have a look at that one. That was a really cool game to watch. So there is some really good stuff going up, and of course there are some other games coming up soon as well. Please be sure to send through some Heart of the Swarm stuff. I do not care if you are in any lower leagues or upper leagues. Whatever you've got, send it through. Heart of the Swarm is very interesting to look at regardless of the skill level, just to try and see what people like to try and pull out from time to time. So keep that in mind. Meanwhile, Lings are going to poke away at the destructible rocks. It's going to take quite a while to bust through those with just 2 Lings, but I'm sure that TLO is going to get some more units across. He is transferring a few drones down to the, what is, I suppose, normally the third base, but that's actually his natural in a way. He's up to 23 drones, pulling out a few more as well, of course, making sure that he's getting his economy all up and nice and good. Getting up to, you'd probably expect him to get to around about 35, 36 drones, and then we'll probably see him pick up the gas. It's obviously dependent on what type of tech he wants to go for. We want to try and see where the gas goes into. Of course, if you see it go into the lair, we may see some interesting timings come out, or perhaps the odd muta or two if he grabs some extra gas as well. And if it goes into speed, obviously he wants to just get some map control, and may lead into some more ground-based attacks later on in the game. So one thing TLO is also very good at is the creep spread, obviously loving to spread out the creep a bit like Scarlet. You may have seen at MLG some fantastic stuff from Scarlet during her games, and yeah, looks as if we are going to see something interesting out of ExcuseMe. He's gone for a double Stargate down the back of his base. Now, there is the Overlord, of course, did not get to see this in time because it wasn't able to head up to the top left-hand side. We'll see how adamantly ExcuseMe tries to defend this, because he will need to get a Stalker out or something like that if he wants to block any further Overlord scouting from coming out. Of course, TLO can see the third gas here, meaning that there is a likelihood of some sort of tech coming out pretty quickly from ExcuseMe, and he obviously will be able to see as well that the fourth gas has not been taken, which, you know, that may be a symbol of something to come. Now, this build, the double Stargate, there's a couple of ways you can do this. You can either go into a way that was very, very popular for like about a week after the Phoenix changes came through, giving them the extra range, where you just pump out a whole bunch of Phoenix and you just lift up all the Queens, kill all the Overlords, and just try and do as much havoc as he can while taking a third base. Another option could be that ExcuseMe is going to get out a whole bunch of Void Rays, and it is, yeah, he's definitely getting a lot of those out. We got one at the moment, two more on the way, chrono boosting them out as well. We may see him try and pick up a third base under the cover of Void Ray harassment, and then push it into a mothership, a very quick mothership style. This is also something which is it's a bit of a pocket strat. It's something you only pull out every now and then, but it is something which can catch a couple of Zergs off guard. We'll see which particular strategy he is going to go for. TLO, meanwhile, has just finished off the lair. The Roach Warren is, of course, done as well, and an Evo Chamber, just in case of some spores or some upgrades are needed. Macro Hatch just about to complete as well, and it looks as if he's all prepared for all the normal sorts of things that would come out of a Protoss at this sort of stage of the game. Now, the Void Ray count has increased up to 3. There are 2 more on the way that are about to pop out. There they are. There's one. And the 5th one will come along in just a moment. There is a Stalker that's just about to come across and perhaps defend against that Overlord Scout, but he's not really going to be able to hit him from here. But it looks as if the Void Rays have not been spotted just yet, so TLO is going to be in for a bit of a surprise once these arrive. Perhaps this, was that a Ling? Yes, it is. A Ling just hiding in the grass there, actually not getting too much vision, but he should be able to have seen that Void Ray coming through, not to mention the fact he's got Void Rays right at the front door. They're going to target down some of the drones. You can expect the Void Rays to just sit back and take down that hatchery. That'll go down very quickly. A sign of things to come. If you've played some Heart of the Swarm, this will look very similar to you if you're a Protoss or a Zerg player. Of course, the new Oracle skill, what's it called, the Pulsar Beam thingy, doing almost the exact same thing as these Void Rays, but as you can see, it looks as if TLO, is he? No way that hatchery survives. 6 health, ExcuseMe, what are you doing, sir? He's just left it there, 6 health. And now a transfuse, bringing it back up. But I suppose he's a little bit busy. A couple of Void Rays having to defend at the expansion rocks just down there, and he looks as if he will be able to force it back. Of course, Roach is not too good against Void Rays last time I checked, so TLO will have to fall back from there. That does mean that there are still 4 Void Rays out on the map. A lot of Roaches, a drone even included in this mix of units, so TLO very confident with the play of that. But TLO is now prepared with a bunch of Spore Crawlers. He did see a very high Stargate unit count, of course, meaning that it is quite likely there are multiples, and there it is. The fleet beacon goes up from ExcuseMe, so he's definitely doing this mothership strategy. It, as I said, a very quick mothership. Now, what you do with that is you use it to protect your base from any incoming attacks, and you will most likely use it to take the third base. And what you want to do, put the Nexus down, cover it in cannons. Think that you've got like ice cream and you've got some of that magic topping stuff. You just want to cover it in cannons. You see people getting anywhere up to like 12 sort of cannons to defend a third like that, and then you use a mothership to cloak it. And it's a very interesting strat, but as we can see, ExcuseMe is going to take the left-hand inner side base just because of the fact that there was some creep covering this one here, so he's not going to take the time to try and you know, get rid of that Overlord. But as we can see, a wall of cannons actually inside the natural base here, so he's not going to be too worried about any incoming attacks from there. It looks as if the Void Ray is trying to pick off one of these Spore Crawlers here, but the Spore Crawler doing insane amounts of damage, and now the Void Ray is starting to charge up. Almost all of them on level 3 of their attack. That is going to be able to do a huge amount of damage. But TLO, look at this guy. He's got a bunch of queens. It's like you've got a huge monarchy going here with all sorts of queens coming out to play. They're going to put down some creep tumors as well, just to make sure that there is enough creep for them to walk around on, because they're very slow tiptoeing around if they are not on creep. But as we can see, TLO is prepared by just getting queen after queen, and is now getting his investors out. As we can see, the pathogen glands has just finished up, along with neural parasite being researched for TLO as well. So we'll see how he's going to try and deal with this. There is that covering of cannons. Look at all of that. That's 9 cannons covering this base with 2 pylons to power them up. Perhaps a second one would be quite helpful, but as we can see, ExcuseMe being caught out, just a little bit of fungal going down, catching 2 of the Void Rays. The others are just off to the side, bit of damage on them already. And the Queens are doing insane amounts of damage at the moment, +1 on their missile attacks, meaning that they are doing... which one is it? It's that one there, the 10 damage to air units. It is quite an insane amount when you consider the fact that there are all of these gals down here. Couple that along with the fact that there is some fungal growth as well. And ExcuseMe's Void Rays will have to be backed off for now. In fact, did any of them survive? Yes, 2 of them survived. We've got a carrier, we've got the mothership, and a second carrier as well. So he is definitely doing this this very interesting little pocket strat. In fact, there's a third Stargate. I didn't even see that one. So he is going to try. Now, what do you do with this strat? I suppose not too many people would have seen this too much, because it is something, as I said, that's very, very hit and miss kind of thing to try and pull off. What you want to do is you want to try and get that third base up. Of course, it gives you a lot of gas income, which helps out with getting your carriers out, especially once you actually fill up the gas properly. I don't know what's going on here, but what you want to do is get the carriers out, and then generally at this sort of stage of the game, if you can head across with a mothership and perhaps, you know, sort of around about 5 to 6 carriers, perhaps if some of the Void Rays survived, you can use some of them as well, you will certainly be able to do quite a bit of damage. But a Zerg like TLO, not afraid to throw down Spore Crawlers. We got 5 Spore Crawlers at this base. We've got a few of them. Are there any still inside the main? No, there's not any inside the main base. There are a couple down here at the third base, though, as you can see, still adequately defending that there. But it looks like TLO is preparing to go. He's moving these creep spread across in a very, very direct sort of manner, and also moving down some Spore Crawlers. Are these being built? Yes, they're being built and moved. I don't know what's going on here. It's like the March of the Spore Crawler. And the creep highway being built by TLO as well. This is awesome. Look at this. He's just dropping it down for the Queens so they can move up pretty quickly, and then moving the Overlords forward again. So he's just getting them in position. It looks like he's just getting the Overlords ready so that they can throw down the creep, and the Queens are also ready to sit there. Look at that. That is some beautiful stuff from TLO. He's identified the fact, look, you've got nothing at your bases apart from the cannons that are trying to defend all of the bases and the Great Wall of Pylons that goes with it. And if you've got nothing and I put down some Spore Crawlers, I'm going to be able to defend against all of the carriers that you have out, despite the fact that you may have the mothership as well, even if any of the upgrades are done, which they are not at the moment. +1 weapons is about to finish up, though, for those air units, so we'll see how this goes. Of course, the Spore Crawler wall is going to be the big thing. Of course, when you think about it, Spore Crawlers cannot be vortexed, and that's one of the big things that a mothership has going for it, is that it can vortex these Queens if they get out of line. But as we can see, the Queens are getting in a big line, taking down the big wall of cannons and pylons here. Some of the Roaches just deciding to go straight in through the back, but the main battle is happening down here at the left-hand side. Neural Parasite on top of the mothership and a Vortex, on top of all the carriers, and that is essentially game right there. TLO bringing the mothership back, saying, come back here, baby, and then finishing it off with the Spore Crawlers and the Corruptors. That was absolutely amazing stuff from TLO. And now with the March of the Spore Crawlers back down to the left-hand side, fungal growth on top of those carries, the Spore Crawlers going to work on as many of those interceptors as they can, and now the Queens have come back as well, pulling out their extra damage with their +2 upgrades, and a very well played, sir, from ExcuseMe. So a very interesting little pocket strat pulled out from ExcuseMe. As I said, something that was a little bit popular for a little while, but it can be countered relatively easily if you are on the ball and watching what you're doing, or if you're TLO and you decide to vortex all of the carriers themselves and then destroy them all with Spore Crawlers. So perhaps not the most common way to deal with it, but certainly one that you could try yourself. Hope you enjoyed that game from TLO in the Team Liquid Replay Pack of the Week, and we'll have some more coming up very soon. Cheers.